Hey guys, how's it going, man? A lot going on, and it's exciting. We're living under historical times. You know, um, I've just been sitting back watching the whole debacle with Ukraine. I'm sorry, with Iran, and all I can say is, probably the same thing that you guys are saying, which is, wow, right? I mean, everything that's happening over there right now is just wow. It's an amazing thing to see. Um, I guess I guess we'll just start there, man. Sorry. You know, I used to have a coworker. His name was Sina, right? He's from Iran. He became naturalized. He's an American citizen now, and you know, uh, like I think everything popped off on Saturday night. By Monday, we were texting. He texted me, and you know, I let him know. My text to him was, "Hey, bro, it seems like you and the people of Iran, such that are like yourself, who escaped the regime. It looks like you guys are finally getting what you prayed for, right? You're getting the opportunity to possibly be free, and I'm happy for you guys. I'm happy for you. And you know, what? Let me do this. I'm just gonna read it because we had a nice back and forth. So I text him. I go, "Hey, Sina, looks like your people got their prayers answered. I'm happy for them. Hope they can figure it out and get their country together. Now, lots of people like yourselves have to ask. Now, lots of people like yourselves have to ask yourselves a question. You have a question to answer. Go home to Iran and help fix Iran, or stay in America and fight for a greater, stronger America as Americans. There's no wrong answers. There's only what you feel is right. Hope you're celebrating with loved ones, and I wish your family a brighter future." Right? He texts back, "Hey, bro, how are you? Thank you. We're so happy. Exactly, a lot of people ready to back Iran. We love Trump. He is our hero right now and forever. Thank you for your text. Also, I back to SD San Diego. Let's get together soon." And then he sent me a couple videos of him with a lot of Iranians, Iranian Americans. Which, by the way, I hate calling people Iranian Americans or Mexican Americans, because if you came here and you took the oath, you're an American, right? And nothing else. So that's very important for me. And you know, those are the videos of him celebrating in the streets. And I he says, "I'm happy for you. Reach out when you have some time, and we'll get together." And he says, "Sure." And then from there, we started texting about a bunch of other stuff. So what I want to say is essentially what I told him. For all the people that came from Iran to America to escape Iran, you're finally getting what you asked for. The question you have to ask yourself is, what are you going to do next? When you became naturalized and you put your hand up and you sort of got that you're going to be an American and put nothing else before America, is that going to hold true? Or are you going to go home and try to rebuild your country, your old country? Try to salvage it, try to, get back with family and reestablish those connections, right? And it's an important question. It's a very important question, because the same thing is going to happen to Mexico. And the same thing already happened with Venezuela. What are you going to do? Things are moving really fast with President Trump. This guy does not waste any time. He just doesn't. The guy just gets it done. If things aren't getting done, it's not his fault. It's the fault of Congress. It's the fault of the Republicans and the Democrats. I'm not going to play this game where it's, oh, the Democrats are blocking everything. No, it's also the fault of the Republicans. And we can assign a lot of blame to Democrats. But let's be honest, guys. Like, it's not just the Democrats. It never was just the Democrats. And so what are you going to do? Are you going to go home? Are you going to rebuild? Are you going to take the money that you made here and go back and rebuild? Because if you are, the opportunities now, when the government's at its weakest, when the economy is rocky, this is when you build. This is when you establish. This is when it's rock bottom. You can convert, $1 American to, I don't know, like $1 million Iranian dollars? If I look it up, it's going to be something insane like that. It's crazy. Convert that money. Take it home. Use that to build. Use that to establish. And I'm not asking this question out of spite or anything like that. I'm asking it because it's a genuine question. What about all you Mexican Americans, right? That proudly wave the American flag, but you ran from your country. What's going to happen when we kill all the cartel? When Trump just goes and finishes the job? It's going to happen. It's going to happen soon. It's going to happen fast. He's already told you Cuba's next. And that's already in the works. This is an administration that is juggling 20, 30, 40, 50 different things at one time. And people can't keep up. They're not used to this because old politicians would focus on one thing and one thing alone for 4 years. And then when they couldn't get it done, they would just be like, it was the Republicans, it was the Democrats. This guy's just doing it all at once. And it's amazing. And that's why I voted for him 3 times. So what are you going to do, my fellow Iranian Americans? Where's your allegiance now? Because if you're not 100% committed to America, I highly encourage you to go home and build, because this is the time to do it. This is the time to take advantage. The country of Iran is at its weakest point ever. It's being reported today that their entire navy's gone. They have nothing. Their air force is gone. Their army is completely depleted and scattering, trying to run into, bordering countries. And the ones that are holdovers, the extreme hardliners that are operating in a decentralized manner, because there's no centralized government no more. They keep dying. Well, eventually that's going to come to an end. It is. And it's happening so fast, guys. It's barely been a week and a half. It's been a week and a half, and it looks like it's on the verge of wrapping up. And I believe our President Trump, I believe he said something like that to that extent yesterday, where he's like, no, we're almost done. And it's just the most amazing thing. And it's a really big question. And I don't know if too many people are asking themselves that question. Don't you owe it to your previous countrymen to go back and use the wealth that you've created to help build that country, and then in turn take places of office and places of power to establish those connections with America so we can be a partner going forward? So you guys can have some form of a republic, not a democracy. Democracies are doomed to fail. Democracies will always fail. Democracies lead to socialism and communism every single time. And so, not to build a democracy, but to build a republic, one of representation, one where everybody gets a voice, including the minorities. And it's time, guys. To all you Mexican Americans that are still probably waving the Mexican flag, even though you're here in America, you have a choice to make it, and it's coming fast, guys. The benefit that Mexico has over Iran is it's a bordering country, and America buys a lot of your crap, right? We have a lot of businesses there, a lot of tourism. I mean, the Mexican economy is essentially propped up by America. If American money just ever stopped flowing to Mexico, the entire country would collapse. It wouldn't even be a third world country. It would be a dead country. The country would cease to exist. Everybody would die. It's just the truth. Whether you want to accept it or not, it's just the truth. And are there nice portions of Mexico? Man, there's beautiful, 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 beautiful places in Mexico. It's so gorgeous. But guess what? That's where all the Americans go and spend their money. Right? And so these are questions that need to be asked, not by myself, but by those who ran from, the country they left. And they're still proud of who they were. And now it's just, the time is just coming to, you're going to have to make a choice. Are you going to stand strong for America, or are you going to go back home and try to build with your fellow countrymen? And there's no wrong answer. I don't fault you if you want to go home. I encourage you. I encourage you to take your money, your wealth, and go back home and try to build your country. Take positions of power. Take those positions, guys. And then build the alliance with my country, which is the United States of America, and let's move forward to the future together. We can be the greatest partnership. All you have to do is, somebody has to do it, guys. They need more moderates. They need more people that are normal people. They need normal people there. They need entrepreneurs. They need people that know how to build wealth. And when you've lived in that system for so long, that's not something that is known there. And I think that's the problem with places like Africa and other places like that. All these people know is poverty. That all they know is, and I'm not saying all of them, please, I'm just generalizing. But you don't have this sense of entrepreneurship and creating wealth. It's one thing to start a business and keep it a low-level business. But it's another to be able to take that capital and flip it into more capital, and then keep build, and then, do that again in a different industry. That's what these countries need. That's what they're going to need. That's what Iran is going to need going forward. They're going to need people that know how to work money, into prosperity, into jobs, and then get that money cycling. That's how the economy is going to stabilize. It's not going to stabilize by, America pumping money into it. No, that's going to keep it afloat. But if you want to get out of perpetual doom in the survival mode, capital has to be put to work and it has to start circulating. It's called value. And I'm so happy for the people of Iran. They are getting what they asked for. And you see the cheers in the streets and the videos that are coming out, and gosh, dude, they had celebrations across America. Huge, beautiful celebrations, and I'm so happy for them. But the time for celebration is over. The time for decisiveness is here, and it's here now. Y'all have to make a choice, guys. And there's no wrong decision. And there's no dual citizenship. You have to go home and be a 100% committed citizen of Iran, so that way you can dedicate 100% of yourself to Iran and rebuilding Iran, or you stay here and you send your best wishes to your family and you say, hey guys, if you need help, I can send you help. I can send you instruction. I can send you how I did it. And let's try to do this together remotely. But I have to stay here in America because this is where I belong. This is the country that I owe my allegiance to. This is the country that I owe my loyalty to. And I am here to fight the good fight till the end of time for America as an American citizen. That's about all that I'm going to say about that. I read an article that's starting to come out, right? Several articles. And one of them is about birth control. About 15 years ago, I can't tell you how or why or what caused me to go through this whole kind of rabbit hole on birth control, but I did. And that's when I was like, what the hell? Hey guys, birth control is poison. Birth control is poison. If you have daughters, a niece, cousins, aunties, anybody that's on that, highly encourage them to get off of it. 15 years ago, my wife was on birth control. And then one day I don't know, I either read or saw something, or I don't know what the hell happened. It was too long. It was a long time ago. And I brought it to her attention. I was like, hey, I don't think you should be on that anymore. And it's in my favor for her to be on it, right? Because I get to, release myself inside of her without the fear of her getting pregnant. And now if I want to do that going forward, if she gets off of it, I got to wear a condom, or I got to do the pull-out method. I got to do something, right? I can't just move all up inside of her no more. So if I'm a selfish, greedy person, I don't say anything. I keep it to myself because I want to keep, busting inside. But I want the best for her because she's my wife and I want her to be healthy, and I wanted her to be healthy for our future children. And so I told her, I was like, hey, I don't think you should be on that anymore. She's like, what? I go, yeah, I'm finding out that birth control is poison. It's literal poison. And she's like, what do you mean? I go, yeah. I go, it's considered a class A carcinogen. It's one of the leading causes of cancer in women, from ovarian to breast cancer, etc. I go, but on top of that, it's an extreme cause of mood swings, mental instability, depression, and so forth. I go, but on top of that, the leakage of birth control into our water systems when women go pee-pee, and then when it goes through the refining process for it to be repurposed back into our sinks and faucets, it's leakage. It comes back. She thought I was crazy at the time. I wasn't crazy. I went down a rabbit hole and I looked into it. And the funny thing is, they're not trying to hide it. The information's there. It's literally, it's there. They tell you. But now, and I don't think it's a coincidence that all this is just coming out now that we put out of the WHO, right? The World Health Organization. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think that institution was established to withhold information, to suppress information, to suppress cures, to suppress new treatments, cures. The World Health Organization wasn't there to treat people, to take care of people, to provide the best information. It was there to suppress. And a year after pulling out, now it's coming out that this is considered a class, like, not just out, like it's always been out, but it's going into the mainstream. But not just that. Now they're talking about, we possibly have the cure for cancer. Oh, by the way, cancer isn't just cancer. It's not just something that happens. It actually has a lot to do with parasites and worms in your system. And you're like, what? You're just like, what? And this is something I've been finding out over the past year and a half. I'm not going to go as far as 2 years because I don't think it's been 2 years since I've started learning about a lot of this stuff. I've learned a lot about cancer and how to take care of cancer, and I've learned that chemotherapy is far worse than cancer. That if you do have cancer, the worst thing you can ever do is get on chemotherapy. And I learned that a long time ago when my tia Gloria, my auntie Gloria, when she got cancer, and she had two options: get a surgery and try to cut it out, which had like a 20% success rate, or go through chemotherapy. And I remember I talked to her and I was like, hey, tia Gloria, I think you should take your chances with the surgery. And she's like, no, the doctors are telling me chemotherapy has a higher success rate. This, and I was like, yeah, but here's the problem with chemotherapy. It might be able to take out the cancer that you have after a year or two, but it's going to kill the rest of your body. It's going to kill the rest of your organs. It's going to kill all your white blood cells. It's going to kill your whole body. It's radiation. You're doing radiation therapy. It's going to kill your metabolism. It's going to kill everything. So even if you make it through and chemo works, it just created all these secondary problems that are now going to become your primary problem, and your body's going to be too weak to combat it because it essentially killed your immune system. I told my cousins, hey, talk to your mom, bro. She doesn't want to listen to me. She's listening to the doctor. And I understand I'm not a doctor. But it was one of those things where, something that we've been learning, that doctors, most of them are not doctors. Their job is not to take care of you. Their job is to offer you medication. Their job is to sell medication. Doctors are essentially pharmaceutical reps. Anyways, she didn't listen to me. My cousins didn't push the issue. She got on chemo and she died several years after. Not from the cancer. She died because her immune system was so weak that she succumbed to everything else. And the cancer. Because it was also unsuccessful. Well, now it's coming out that there are cures for cancer. And one of the largest cures appears to be ivermectin and fenbendazole, the combination of both drugs. And you know what they both have in common? Is these are anti-parasitic drugs. Excuse me, not drugs, treatments. In Africa, in many villages, they do ivermectin Sundays, where every Sunday the tribe or the village takes a dose of ivermectin because their water's in many villages and remote towns, their water's untreated. The food they eat is undercooked, and so they have a much higher rate of coming across parasites than most other people throughout the world, right? Because in America, we fully cook our food unless we're going to, some steakhouse, or we're going to do it ourselves where we cook the steak medium rare, which is my favorite. But, that really doesn't happen here. Yeah, you can go eat some sushi, but in many cases, a lot of these foods are cleansed really well, and we just don't come across that very often, right? And it's just one more time, it's amazing how now this information is coming out to the mainstream a year after we exited the WHO. And now the information of parasites actually being one of the main causes of cancer. And now it's also coming out, guys, that the biopsies that they're doing to establish the type of cancer that you have, the type of tumor you have, well, that actually might be killing you. Because what I've learned recently, not over the past year or two, this is actually quite recent, is that when you get a tumor, a cyst, or anything that's considered cancerous, is that in itself is something that protects you. That is your body's way of congregating these toxins and poisons and putting it into a single area in your body. I'm sorry, I'm trying to, right? So it's just isolating. It's isolating all these parasites, it's isolating all these toxins and chemicals that are in your body, these heavy metals, and it's putting them together. It's clumping it together. And then as it clumps it, it protects it, it puts a protective barrier around it to prevent escape. And so what happens is a doctor is coming in with a razor and scissors and needles and whatever the fuck else they use. And then when they biopsy, they're cutting into that protective eggshell that the body creates itself. They're piercing it to take off a piece of it so they can then go and look it under a microscope so they can establish, oh, this is a malignant tumor. It's this tumor. What they're actually doing is they're breaking the egg and they're cracking the yolk, and all the toxins are now being spread out through your body. It's the most amazing thing. It really is. It's the most amazing thing. Finding out, learning this stuff. And so to all you people out there that if you learn that you have cancer, the worst thing you can do is a biopsy or whatever it's called, where they go and they want to research the kind. No. If you're going to do that, the best thing you can do is just get surgery and take out the tumor. That would be the first thing. The second thing is to completely change your diet. Completely change your diet. And the third thing is to start doing monthly, yearly cleanses, which is something that, I think I did one about a year ago. I bought this great little thing on Amazon, and man, it worked. Sorry, give me 1 second. And, some shit came out, and it was on the toilet. It looked weird. It didn't look like parasites. But then when I went to go look it up, it really was. It just looked like mucus. It looked, like this white mucus, but it was. I looked it up. And so it's a three-pronged process where you really have to start being aware, and you have to stop trusting the experts. Because what I've come to realize is the experts are not experts. They're only experts in name. They're only experts in how they present themselves and the titles they give themselves or to each other. But for the most part, most doctors are idiots. Most doctors are retards. Most doctors don't know shit. And you have to make a choice. Are you going to put your trust in a retard? Are you going to put trust in yourself to do the work? And the work is to do the homework, the research, and find out for yourself. My greatest quality right now is my ability to keep an open mind and to be able to say the things that I say with conviction, because I've done the work, guys. I've done a lot of work, and I'm not going to pretend like I can talk about everything as though I'm an expert. No. But the things I do talk about, I'm actually quite knowledgeable about because, man, I spend a lot of time. And that's my encouragement to you guys is you all can do the same thing. We are living under historic times, but I do believe that right now is not the time to get cocky. Right now is not the time to start making fun of Iran and be like, oh, such losers, we're bombing them, we're killing them, we're crushing them. Oh! It's not that time to do that. It's just not. You have to keep focused. President Trump, as an admirer of yours, as somebody who admires you, please stay focused. Finish the job. And I think you will. And I believe he will. Because that is a man on a mission. My concern with Iran is that we lose focus and we don't finish the job. And then something happens. Something that nobody can think of happens. Because we got too cocky. We got overconfident. We're a basketball team. You know, I don't know if y'all remember basketball, but back in the day, I think it was Reggie Miller was playing the Detroit Pistons, the Indiana Pacers, and the Pacers were down by 12, right? It was something like that, or by 9 points, and there was like 12 seconds left. And the team got really cocky. They were like, it's over. But you had one guy never give up. His name was Reggie Miller. And if you haven't seen this, one of the greatest comebacks ever. This guy, in under 12 seconds, got 3 steals. 3 steals in under 12 seconds. Made 3 clutch 3-pointers. Tied the game. And the Pacers went to go win the game. And I think that was that led to the one and only championship Reggie Miller ever won. The game isn't over until it's over. So to my fellow Americans, to my government, to President Trump, to Pete Hegseth, and possibly the greatest Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, stay focused, please. Finish the job. Don't get overconfident. Keep your eye on the prize. Finish the job. And then move on to your next. And I think you all have moved on to the next. And that's amazing. Like I said, they're juggling so much at one time. But we have to get this one right. We have to finish this one. We have to do it. Because I don't know if there's any other shots. And Iran is a force. And you couple that with these hardliners and their religious extremism, they're not going to quit. They're going to keep going. And all you need is that one person with 12 seconds left who refuses to quit, who's able to do something so crazy and unthought of for it to just fall apart. The game isn't over until it's over. That's all I want to say about that. The last thing I want to talk about, and it's going to be controversial, is I've talked about this in the past. And actually, you know what? Scratch that. Scratch that. I don't want to talk about that because that's going to take longer. And it really deserves to just be itself again. Maybe I'll just repost the video and retitle it, but that's a strong conversation, and it really needs its time. The last thing I want to talk about is several weeks back, maybe a month ago, I don't know, man. I made a video saying that Muslims are Jews and Jews are Muslims, that they're the same people. And keep in mind, I'm not talking about the 80, 90% of the civilians, because 80%, 90% of Muslims are good people, sweet people, honest people. I've met them. Good people who just want to live a good life. They just believe in a different God. And the 80, 90% of Jews in the world, it's the same thing. But you have that 10% of fanatics. And they're the same people. They just call themselves different names. And for the first time in a while, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, I heard somebody. It was this Chinese guy that's getting promoted all over YouTube and Twitter now, or X. And he mentioned it. And I was like, wow, somebody else sees it. Let me pull it up. I wanna excuse me, move tab to new window. I think it's what's this Chinese guy's name? Hang on. It'll. He's right there, but hang on. I want to see his own channel. Like, I'm just gonna.
Okay. The question is, who's this?
I don't know if that's his channel, but that's the Chinese guy. Anyways, he made a video talking about Muslims and Jews, and essentially he said the same thing, bro. He said that the Muslim religion, or the Islam, was created by the Jews. I didn't go there. Maybe I did. I'm gonna have to watch my own video. But essentially, that the Jews created Islam, and then they just separated, went their own ways. But that essentially it's from the same teachings. It's the same underlying concepts. Everything about them is identical. And what I was talking about was that
humble Israel.
I gotta find this guy's name. He's. I'll tell you what, man. He's somebody that's thinking outside the box. And I'm not saying that because what he said yesterday or the day before yesterday coincides with what I said 2 months ago, or weeks ago. It's probably like a month ago. It's because for the first time I'm hearing somebody that's saying something different, something that makes sense. And it doesn't just make sense to me because it's something I said. No, it's because if you think about it and you just follow it through and you look at the behaviors and the habits and you look at what they both want to accomplish, it's identical. And I believe that, the Muslim race, or I believe Islam and the people that follow Islam, the hardliners, one more time, I believe they're being used as, if I'm using an analogy here in America, where we have enlisted and officers, the Jews in the upper ranks are the officers, and the Muslims are the Muslims are the enlisted. And then you have your upper ranks, and those, in regards to Navy terms, those are like the what they call the khaki, right? The E7s and above. I don't think that 80-90% of each side realizes they're all being played by the 10%, 5%, 10%, whatever number you want to call it. I don't believe they know that or realize that or even understand what's happening. But what I am saying is I see it, and it's so clear as daylight. And this is not me saying that everybody that lives in Israel is this extreme hardliner that is in line with, Islam. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is the power brokers, the elites, the people that make things move, and these sheiks and mullahs and whatnot that make things move on the opposite end of the spectrum, that they are the same people. And they're there to manipulate people, top, bottom, inside out. It's a strategy, and it's been working. It's been working forever. And it's brilliant. These people are so freaking brilliant, man. Look into it. I think if you actually look into it, you're going to come to the same conclusion, because everything about them are the same thing. They are the same people. All the habits, the beliefs, everything, the traditions, it's all the same. So that's really all I have to say. Thank you for your time. And, it's funny, right? Because I want to make videos more often, and I'm driving to work, and I'm like, oh, that's something so good to talk about, right? And then as the day progresses, I completely forget what the hell I was thinking. You know what I mean? Like, I'm driving, so I'm not writing it down, and, and then I like, and, and so I'm like, yeah. And then I see the stuff on X or YouTube and all those other channels, and it just, not enough time has gone through for it to play out so I can actually give a nuanced take on it. Because when people say they're giving a nuanced take on it, most of the time they're not. They're just repeating the shit that they heard from another YouTube channel or Rumble channel or whatever channel, right? Who cares? I think that's boring. I want to actually dive and see and watch things play out, and then come in and be original. Because this isn't just me making videos for you. This is me making videos for my kids for the future. So they have a repository of what I believed, what I said, and where I stood when they get older and I'm gone. And so I don't want to be this typical person that's thoughtless and brainless, and they're just regurgitating shit that they've heard from 50 other channels. I actually want it to be substance. I want it to be quality. I want it to be like, wow, Dad was ahead. Dad saw shit that people didn't see. And the problem is, I don't have a big following, and I'm okay with that. It is what it is, right? How can I? I don't make videos consistently. I'm not a big name. I'm not, tied to any, firm or anything like that. I'm just a person that's curious. I'm just a person that's curious. And then I just need to talk to somebody. I want to talk to somebody. But unfortunately, the people around me, they're not able to have these conversations, or they don't want to have these conversations, which is completely okay, because there's nothing wrong with that neither. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be ignorant. There's nothing wrong. And I'm not using that word ignorant as a derogatory. I'm using it as how it's meant to be. It's just, people just don't want to know. because people just want to live their life and try to pretend like everything's okay. And I understand that. The problem is I learned too much and now I can't unlearn it. And my brain just, because I've learned, it wants more. It wants to know more. It wants to understand more. It wants to make sense of it. And so I'm going to leave this here right now. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. But before I go, I'm going to say a couple crazy things. One, the earth is flat. I am 95% convinced it's flat. And I wasn't convinced up until late last year. Up until late last year, I would have told you that the earth was round. I was convinced it was round. Now I'm not. I'm actually convinced it's flat. And that's a video of itself. And the second thing is there's no such thing as aliens. Aliens don't exist. If anything, we are aliens, all of us. The human race is comprised of a bunch of aliens. You don't have to believe me, just look around. You travel to China, their facial structure, their DNA, their way of life, their language, their culture, their writing, it's completely different from a Russian. And then you travel a little bit more west or east, you get to Vietnam, completely different facial structure, DNA, language, writing, culture. Then you travel a little bit north to the Persians, and then you can just bounce around everywhere. Then you can make your way through Africa and then go through all the different types of Africans, from the Somalians, Ethiopians, to the Nigerians, the Ghanaians. They're all different with different DNA, with different facial structure, with different culture, different language, different writings. And then you can go all the way and keep going to, South America, to Mexico, and you can just keep going, guys. And I'm convinced that we are all some form of alien species that somehow landed on Earth. And I'm not convinced that there's anything else out there. But I think that something happened somewhere along the line, and Earth was maybe considered a neutral zone or a safe zone or something, and maybe an experimental zone. And that, God, this leads me to another thing, guys. I'm starting to believe that Earth is purgatory. That Earth is exactly what I just said, purgatory. I believe that we're stuck between heaven and hell. And that's a different conversation. And I've just come to realize that recently. And I'm pretty convinced that Earth might just be purgatory. And the life you have is the life that you create. And if it's hell, it's because you created hell on Earth. And if it feels like heaven and bliss, it's because you created heaven on Earth. But essentially, it's purgatory. And what comes after is dependent on the choices you made and the choices that you're going to make in the afterlife. It's the craziest thing, man. It's the craziest thing, the shit that just, I'm trying to make sense of everything. And the conclusions I'm coming to are just wild. And sometimes I feel crazy. I do. The shit I say, the stuff that comes out of my mouth, the way that my brain unscrambles things. And it's like, man, if I ever say this shit out loud, people are going to think I'm fucking crazy. But the truth is, I'm saying it because I'm starting to believe that what I just said is 100% true. And I think if you guys actually spent time and stopped listening to people, but just started observing. I know I said I was going to shut the hell up, right? But I'm going to go ahead and do this. We went on a hike, right? Me, the wife, and the kids. We went on a hike to Torrey Pines. And if you ever done it, it's so damn beautiful. So damn beautiful. It's on the coast of La Jolla. And then, you climb up this mountain and then finally you can keep going, right? There's a bunch of offshoots where you can finish the hike and go make your way back down. We continued all the way. And then after this 2 miles, whatever, something hike, you make your way all the way down and then it leads you to the coast. And when you get to the coast, at the very end of this trail, it's so freaking beautiful. It's so beautiful. And then you look out to the horizon and you see endless water, the Pacific Ocean. And you just stare at it. And if you were to ever get a yardstick and hold it up to the coastline, that coastline would run perfect with that yardstick. Nice and beautiful and flat. If the earth was round, I believe they said every 8 miles the earth would curve 3 inches. From where I was standing, you can see about 40, 50, maybe possibly 60 miles. All the way left, all the way right. There was no curvature, guys. If that was the case, I would have seen a curvature of 15, 25 inches. You would have seen like a curvature. There was no curvature. There's no curvature. It doesn't exist. The earth is round, but it's not spherical. But it is round. It's like a plate, but it's not a ball. Go out to the coast. Look it up. Out of curiosity, let's look it up right now. How many miles to reach a curvature of the earth? I'm sure there's a better way to fucking say that. Three miles. At 3 miles, you should start seeing a curvature. So 1 mile equals 8 inches drop over 3 miles. The formula is 1.23 times height in feet. So this is the distance of curvature becomes relevant in blocking line of sight in the surface. The drop due to curvature is often approximated 8 inches per mile squared. So over 1 mile, 8 inches drop over 3 miles. 8 inches drop over 3 miles, and then it's got the 2 dots. Much more noticeable blockage. I'm calling bullshit because your vision from end to end, not to the horizon, which is about 20 miles, but end to end is at least 50 to 60 miles, right? Where I was standing, because you can see, and you can probably, where you can see too, would have put me somewhere, I don't know, in Chula Vista. And then where I can see towards what's going to be much more north, right? And there was no curvature. If I had a freaking yardstick, I can put it on the horizon and it would have been perfectly horizontal with that yardstick. What I should have seen was this. There's a lot more reasons. The reason I told you that story was just because I wanted to give you a visual. And it's just something simple that you can go do for yourself. And if you haven't done that hike, I encourage you to, because it's so damn beautiful, man. Anyways, that's all I got. Before I don't shut the hell up and keep going. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And yeah, you know, we're living under historical times, man. Enjoy it, appreciate it, because I don't know if we'll be living under these types of times again. We're living there in transformational times, and it's a beautiful thing. Peace.